Hey everyone, thank you so much for painting with me today. We are going to be painting this image called Together. It is two canvases put together, so you can paint them together or you can paint them separate. Just try to keep in mind what the pattern is. So if you're painting them together, the pattern is to use it's called a mop brush, but we're just going to call it a soft bristled brush. You're going to put white paint on that brush, and the pattern is we're going to go from white in the center to light blue to dark blue. So for now, in the beginning, or the first steps, you're going to be putting white paint on that soft bristle brush and dabbing the brush down the middle of the canvas. I'm just tapping the brush on the canvas. It is okay if you happen to paint over the bridge or your swans. You should still be able to see the outline because we're just lightly tapping paint on the canvas. Now we're going to go from white to the light blue. I didn't clean my brush because I want to be able to blend so that we don't have a hard stop from white to blue. You definitely want to blend those areas so that it's a soft transition from one color to the next. Now in this area, I just use solid blue, and I slowed the video down so I want you to see all I'm doing is just tapping the canvas with the brush. Now I did go in this area here and add a little bit more white paint because again, I wanted that soft transition from one color to the next. It might benefit you to clean your brush at this point where you're wanting to apply more paint or white paint in a certain area, because whatever color you're using will overtake that white paint. So now all I'm doing is using solid light blue, and I'm just dabbing my brush. Let's just say you hit a branch or two. That's okay. As you can see, you can still see those branches, and you'll know that you're tapping lightly if you can still see the outline behind you. If you're tapping too hard or you're applying too much paint, you'll be able to tell because you cannot see the outline anymore. So just lighten the load on your brush and the pressure on your brush as you're doing this. And now this area, let's just say this is the deeper parts of our forest that we're painting. I used the dark blue in this area, same brush, same steps and patterns of painting. Now for blending, and you'll see it in more detail here, I went and used the light blue, kind of went over the dark blue. My goal wasn't really to cover the dark blue. That's just kind of what happened. I just went with it. But I think it's a nice little fade from one color to the next. Now I'm using my flat angular brush. So it has a little angle to it. And I'm using that angle to get into those little tight areas to paint. What we're doing is we're doing black first. So we're going to paint these little islands black. We're going to paint all of our trees and branches black. The black represents the shadows and the shaded areas of the image that we're painting. I'll explain that once we apply color, and you'll be able to see what I mean. But I'm just going over my branches on all my trees, and I'm going to paint a lot of whatever I do on the right side that you'll see, I'll do on the left side, but I probably won't show it. Kind of repetitive, so I don't want to do that. Now I'm using my mop or soft bristled brush and brown paint. And so we have our shadow, the black. Now we're doing another layer, which is our dirt. So I'm going slow because I want you to see that I'm just tapping my brush, barely pressing the bristles down. Just a very light tap, trying to not hit my little bunnies, which I'm going to paint those back in later. So it's all good. Now, if you do happen to paint over your bunny completely, there is going to be an area or a section in this video where I'll show you how to kind of paint them back in really fast. But let's just say you kind of paint over the bunny altogether. It's okay as well. We'll just take the bunnies out. It won't mess up the painting at all. And what I'm doing, I'm going back to my angular flat brush, and I'm using some brown paint, and I'm applying brown onto the trees, and I'm slow down the video because I want you to see that the black becomes the shadow of the tree. The brown becomes the bark. The black becomes the shadow. I wouldn't spend too much time necessarily trying to perfect any part of this painting, but especially this part, you almost want streaks and for things to look quote unquote messy, because you have to think of what a natural tree bark looks like. There's not a lot of perfection other than, the Lord's perfection. But it's not like we have perfect lines. For the most part, trees do not have perfect straight lines, perfect straight branches. So this is the perfect time to be imperfect, and it works out for you. I like to say I'm smearing brown paint on my bark. Now I'm trying to angle my brush to where I'm painting thin lines. So I wouldn't turn it sideways where you have thick lines. Turn it where it's thin. I did paint the other side. I just didn't show it. I used my angular brush and black paint. And I am going to paint my little bridge and bridge outline. And then I'm going to go and add a little bit of yellow highlight to the trees. That just makes it look like the sun is beaming off the bark in that area. Now I'm going to go back to my soft bristled brush and green paint, and I'm going to apply grass. I like to try to spread my bristles out, turn it into almost a fan brush, which if you have a fan brush, you can use a fan brush. You can also use this brush here. So I've started out with the darker green, and then I went to the lime green just to give the grass highlights, lowlights, make it look more like a natural field of grass. I did use my smaller brush to paint around my little bunnies, and then I also used that small brush to paint in some grass. I'm going to zoom in so that you can see how to paint the grass, but you definitely want to start. Just think about how grass grows. It grows from the bottom up. So as you're painting, I said the bottom, grows from the ground up. As you're painting, you want to make sure you paint your bristles or angle your bristles upward. So just think of, say like you're writing a check mark, just like with a pencil, check mark or a pen. It's kind of that same swift motion that you're using as you're painting. As you can see here, zooming in, I just paint from the bottom up, flicking the brush and the bristles up. You kind of let the bristles create the shape of the grass. I did use lime green, and I'm going in with some dark green, painting around my little bunnies and near the base of the trees. And I also, of course, did that on the other side of the canvas as well. And now what we're going to do is, so I don't know why I went around the land here. This is water, and as you can see, I'm starting to add my little water lines here. I'm using my thinner, angular flat brush. I'm using light blue, dark blue, and white, just as I did in the sky. And I like to think of it like zebra pattern, just a zebra lines, which they don't have to be perfect at all. Just go left to right to create those waves. Now I did go back to my the softer tip brush and black paint. And again, just like we did with the bark and the ground, the black is going to represent shadows. So, and hey, let's just say, and I'm sure people did it, let's just say you got really active and engaged with painting those tree branches, and maybe you painted too many. This is the perfect time to use the black paint to kind of cover up any little mistakes that you may have in your trees. And I don't even like to call them mistakes, but let's just say it's some areas you kind of wish you hadn't done. you can use a little bit of black paint to paint over that. I am painting the trees, well, the leaves of the tree. So we have the shadow. Now with the darker shade of green and that same brush that has been cleaned, now we only have green on it. I am going in and I'm adding my green leaves. The key to this is to not cover the sky. If you're looking at a tree in the park or something, you can still see the sky in the background. So maybe not a lot of sky, maybe it's a dense forest, but you can, as you can see here, you can somewhat still see the sky through the leaves. So emphasis on not completely covering the sky as you're painting in your leaves. Now I'm using the small brush that you all have, and I am going to just paint in our people. I did not spend any time at all trying to perfect these individuals. Sorry, y'all. But sometimes I just don't like to be as detailed. The brain tends to develop the illusion. So I just kind of let people's imagination run its course, if you will. I'm painting in my little bunny, repainting him in. Again, if you can't kind of follow this pattern, that is okay, you guys. I mean, either way, the image itself will be beautiful. We're using a lot of beautiful bright colors, so it's going to be nice regardless. I did add a little bit of black around the swans' bodies and a little bit of eyes for the bunnies, and of course I added some grass to kind of make it look like they're sitting in the grass. I used my small tip brush and I painted the swans, and the swans are in the shape of the number 2. The one on the right is, the one on the left is like a reverse number 2. So just kind of keep that in mind, especially the neck and the head. That's the shape of the number 2, and maybe the body's like a shape of an almond or a football. So I painted that white, and what I'm doing, I'm not really outlining the swan. I'm kind of painting the illusion of where the base of the swans would be, their neck, creating an illusion of a shadow to bring out the actual shape of the head and the neck. And yeah, that is our painting. I hope you all had fun. Don't forget to paint the little figures at the base of the painting. And I also kind of went and did a few water waves on top of that shadow area. But yeah, that's our right side, our left side, and this is our painting together. Hope you all had fun. Have a great day.